telling you now, and I didn't want to say this in front of him, but he will go right to the very top. Right to the very top.
The legacy of Frank Lampard. Frank James Lampard was born on the 20th of June 1978 in Romford, London. Frank was from a footballing family and he was grown in a very football-based culture. His father was a former West Ham player and he was a coach at the club. His uncle, Harry Redknapp, was one of the most known footballing individuals in England. Harry's son, Jamie, was another person from Frank's relatives that was involved in the football world. Frank started his youth career at West Ham in 1994 and he decided to join Swansea City on loan for the 95-96 season. He only made 9 appearances for the Swans and he managed to score his only goal against Brighton. After his loan spell, he went back to West Ham and he got his West Ham debut against Coventry City. After that match, he only made 1 more appearance in that season, which was West Ham's final game of the season. The following season, he began to get more game time. He was slowly gaining experience and getting better at what he does. Unfortunately, his leg got broken in a match against Aston Villa, and due to that injury, his season was finished after making only 16 appearances for Hammers in that season. In the 1997-98 season, Frank changed his kit number from 26 to 18. Frank began his season on a positive note and he got the winning goal against Barnsley in the first game of the season. He later on scored his first ever hat-trick against Walsall in the League Cup. The 97-98 season was a major improvement from Lampard's previous season. He was able to make 35 appearances and he also scored 6 goals and assisted 3 times. The season after, Lampard helped West Ham to finish 5th in the league and helped them qualify for UEFA Intertoto Cup. He was a key figure for West Ham that season and he was one of their most consistent performers. In the 99-2000 season, he was rewarded by a new contract, keeping him until 2005. Lampard's game was slowly getting more recognized in the country. In that same season, he got his first England cap against Belgium. His reputation was growing more and more, and a lot of clubs were turning their heads towards him. In that season, he got 12 goals and 7 assists for West Ham. The 2000-2001 season was a bad season for West Ham. However, Frank still continued his good form. Here we go, next season comes and Chelsea steps in. They signed Frank Lampard for a sum around £11 million. Frank's Chelsea debut was against Newcastle, which ended in a 1-1 draw. He later on scored his first Chelsea goal against Levski Sofia in the UEFA Cup. In Lampard's first 2 seasons at Chelsea, he was still gradually improving, and he was showing glimpses of his world-class qualities. He had 9 goal contributions in 01-02 season, and he had 13 goal contributions in 02-03 season for Chelsea. Subsequently, he scored his first England goal in a 3-1 win against Croatia. His 3rd season at Chelsea though was a fantastic year for him. He got 15 goals and 9 assists that season. He also finished 2nd in the league with Chelsea, just behind Arsenal's invincible team. Lampard and the Blues also managed to get to the semi-finals of the Champions League in that season by beating Arsenal in the quarter-finals. He was also included in the PFA Team of the Year, and he also finished 2nd in FWA Footballer of the Year awards, just behind Thierry Henry. In 2003, Roman Abramovich took over Chelsea, and it was the beginning of a fantastic era. In 2004, he brought in Jose Mourinho, the manager who won the treble in the previous season with Porto. He moved his winning mentality from Portugal to Chelsea, and he was backed by many signings. However, Lampard was one of the main pieces of his puzzle. In Mourinho's first season, Frank turned into a different monster. He was scoring and assisting for fun in the Premier League, and he was also doing it in Europe's most prestigious competition, the Champions League. Lampard and Chelsea only lost 1 Premier League game in that season, and it was one of the main reasons why Chelsea dominated that league in that season. Lampard won the Premier League and the League Cup in that season, and he also earned the Player of the Year in 2005. Super Frank got 19 goals and 21 assists in all competitions in that season. His fantastic form continued to the next season, which resulted in another Premier League title. In 2005, Lampard finished 2nd behind Ronaldinho for the Ballon d'Or award. His amazing performances and world-class attributes were finally being acknowledged on a worldwide stage. In 05-06, he had another 20-goal season, and he also had 13 assists for Chelsea in all competitions. The following season, Lampard's numbers were improving even more. He had 62 appearances, and he scored 21 goals and assisted another 21. Even though Jose Mourinho left Chelsea mid-season, Lamps did not stop his momentum, and he finished the season with a FA Cup and a League Cup trophy. The 07-08 season arrives and we have yet another 20-goal season from Lamps. I mean, this guy just could not stop scoring. In that season, Chelsea did not win any trophies, but Lampard was still performing on a world-class level. The season after that, Chelsea wins another trophy, and this time it's another FA Cup. Lampard gets 20 goals and 21 assists in all competitions in that season. He helped Chelsea to get to that year's Champions League final, and even though Chelsea did not win the UCL trophy, Lampard still had a fabulous season. Now for the 2009-10 season, Lampard hits new levels. With the new arrival of manager of Chelsea, Carlo Ancelotti, Lampard started to play some of the best football he's ever played, and many argue that the 09-10 season was Frank's best season in his career. Ancelotti and Lampard together won the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Community Shield in that season. On an individual level, Lamps got 27 goals and 18 assists in all competitions. Even though Super Frank was doing very well individually and the team was winning a lot of domestic trophies, there was one trophy that Chelsea and Lampard really wanted to win, and that was the Champions League. Lamps was in his early 30s and he had to win it in the next couple of years, or the time for him and a couple other players would run out. Lampard also went to the 2010 World Cup with England, which they lost to Germany in the round of 16. His the sellout goal changed football forever, with FIFA introducing VAR years later. The 2010-11 season was another trophyless season, and Ancelotti gets the sack from Roman. Lampard statistically dropped from the previous seasons. He only got 13 goals and 6 assists in all competitions, which some of them were due to injuries, but again, he was slowly showing signs of decline. And here we go. The season we've been waiting for. For the 11-12 season, there was a new manager. Andre Villas-Boas joined Chelsea in that season, and he only lasted till March. Domestically, Chelsea dropped off massively from the previous seasons. The overall morale of the team was not good, and Chelsea brought in Roberto Di Matteo as a caretaker manager for the rest of the season. The Champions League situation was not looking good for Chelsea. They lost the first leg to Napoli in the round of 16, and they had to show up big time in order to progress. Lamps and co managed to get a result against the Italian team, and they went to the quarterfinals. They beat Benfica in that round too, and they reached the semis. Chelsea-Barcelona. In that round, it was a game that people wanted to see. In 2009, Barcelona and that famous referee stopped Chelsea to go to the UCL final. It was time for revenge. Chelsea beat Barca at home by 1 goal, and they keep a clean sheet. For the second leg, they had to go to Nou Camp. Captain Terry gets sent off, and now it was Chelsea with 10 men against arguably one of the best teams ever in the history. Pep's Barca and Messi in his prime. Odds were against Chelsea, but their Blues won the battle in a memorable way. Lampard got the assist for Chelsea's first goal to Ramirez, which he chipped Valdez. The second goal was scored by Torres in that famous run which he dribbled past Valdez and then he scored. Di Matteo got the Blues in another final, and this time it was against Bayern in their own ground. Chelsea was missing a lot of key players: John Terry, Ivanovic, Ramirez. The captain Armand was on Frank, and he had to lead the team. The game was dominated by the Germans. They got their goal in the 83rd minute by a header from Thomas Muller. It felt like this is the last chance for this core of Chelsea players to win the UCL. Something needed to be done, and in the 80th minute, Drogba, Mr. Big Game, pops up with a header and gets Chelsea back into the game. In the extra time, Didier gave away a penalty, however Petr Cech managed to save it. The game went to penalties, and as always, Mr. Reliable Frank Lampard scored his penalty. Petr Cech saves Bayern's last penalty, and Drogba had to score his penalty to win Chelsea that trophy. And guess what he did? He exactly scored that penalty, and we finally got that UCL trophy that we wanted. And after many years of trial and error, Lampard and Chelsea won this prestigious European trophy, and they also won the FA Cup in that season. The 2012-13 season, Chelsea had new additions. Players like Eden Hazard, Oscar, Azpilicueta, Moses, Marco Marin, and a few other young players joined Chelsea, and Lampard had to be a mentor-like figure for them because they were very young. Di Matteo's poor Champions League performance got himself sacked, and he was replaced by a hated figure by Chelsea fans, Rafa Benitez. Lampard in that season became Chelsea's top goal scorer of all time, and he became one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player to play for Chelsea. Benitez gave Chelsea a Europa League, and Lampard had a decent season in that year. He played 50 games, he scored 17 goals, and he had 8 assists. Benitez leaves and a former Blue returns. Mourinho is back at the bridge, and Franks gets to reunite with him once more. This was Lampard's last season for Chelsea, and even for his age, he finished the season with a decent stats, and also he got to the semis of UCL. Frank also went to the 2014 World Cup, which England got knocked out in the group stages. Lampard left Chelsea as one of the best players in the history, as the top scorer of the club, and he also got to win many trophies. He scored 211 goals in 648 matches and also assisted 151 goals. He won many individual and team trophies and was part of Chelsea's greatest era. After that, Lampard signed for New York City in the MLS, but due to contractual issues, he had to go to Man City for a while. In that short time, he managed to score a couple goals, and one of them was against Chelsea. When his tenure at Man City was over, he went back to NYCFC, made 31 appearances, and also scored 15 goals. In 2017, he decided to retire at the age of 38. Lamps played 891 matches in his career, and he scored 266 times and also assisted another 179 goals. Some other individual awards that he earned are Chelsea Player of the Year 2004, 2005 and 2009, World XI in 2005, Premier League Player of the Decade 2000 to 2009, and he was UEFA Club Midfielder of the Year in 2008. He was in the Premier League PFA Team of the Year in 2004, 2005 and 2006. He went down as one of the greatest players in English football and made himself one of the most complete midfielders in the history of the game. His hard work, passion and dedication for the game inspired many in the past and the present. In the 2019-20 season, he joined Chelsea as a manager, and now it's his plan to win the same trophies that he won in his Chelsea days with this new group of players. Frank Lampard will always be remembered as one of the greatest players to play the game. What a legend.